Good day, champions. How are we doing today? So, new lockdown rules for COVID. Always great to see. Had to cancel my golf game on Friday because the drop zone can only have people that live in the same household, and the bride doesn't golf. So I said, hey, why don't I shoot a video for our pals? I'm continuing on with the series for the 25 points you need to know from the buyer presentation. That's that list of all the questions in real estate terminology. This is part 6. Part 6 is title insurance. Now, I don't know if you know exactly what title insurance is, how it works, what it covers, what it doesn't cover, or how to properly explain it. So I'm going to send you a copy of title insurance information I found. It's the best one I've found so far. I'm just going to hit a couple of the highlights. It's a 10-page document, so there's lots of stuff. Probably about 8 pages at count. But let's get started. So what is title insurance? The word title is a legal term that means you have legal ownership of the property. What is title? The word title is a legal term that means you have a legal ownership to the property. You obtain title to the property when the owner signs the deed, the transfer document over to you. Title is then registered in the government land registration system. Now you know what title is. We all knew what title is, but that's the simple explanation. And title insurance is an insurance policy that protects the residential or commercial property owners and their lenders against losses related to the property's title or ownership. What does title insurance cover? Covers existing liens against the property title, like a previous owner had unpaid debts from utilities or mortgages or condominium fees or special assessments. Encroachment issues. A structure on your property needs to be removed because it's on your neighbor's property, or let me talk to you about something that just happened to us. Listed a property. One owner house, Dad built a greenhouse right onto the garage. You have access from the garage into the greenhouse like it was a structure. So when I phoned the city to ask about what permits had been pulled on the property, we found out that there was no permits pulled for the basement development and no permits for the greenhouse. So that's obviously going to show up on a real property report and obviously be a problem when it goes for compliance. Now, so let's talk about this. Encroachment issues. A structure on your property needs to be moved because it's on your neighbor's property or was built without a permit. Okay? Now, other related issues that can affect your ability to sell, mortgage, or lease your property in the future, also known as gap insurance. And I wanted just to touch base. Gap insurance insures you for the gap between the time you and your property purchase is finalized, the home closing, and the time your title is registered in the land registration system. So lawyers often do this when we have a quick deal and quick possession, and we can't get the funds there quick enough. They'll use gap insurance. Now, what does title insurance not cover? This is the big one. Title insurance does not cover known defects, defects that were revealed before you purchased the property. So in my case, the greenhouse, and it's actually got a shed on the side of the garage, on the other side of the garage, which encroaches onto the property line. These would be known defects. So title insurance doesn't do the seller any good. And if they want to make the property conform, that means at considerable expense they'd have to remove the shed, but more importantly, remove the greenhouse. And the greenhouse that would be a challenge. My guess would be minimum of $5,000 to remove it and repair the garage and the hole in the garage where the entrance was. So you have to ask yourself, what's best for the client? And maybe this is where you'd send them back to the lawyer. But in the case that I'm using, what we are going to do is provide a real property report, but not a compliance letter. Okay? We will disclose what is not permitted. and will disclose the encroachment. And then the buyer buys as is. Now, if the buyer chooses to tear the greenhouse down and do the thing, fine, that's up to him. But this kind of protects, well, it's the only right thing you can do for your client, unless they want to go ahead and make the property right. And I already told you recently, okay, not so recently, maybe 6 months ago, the problem we had, I think it was 2 winters ago, where illegal basement suite, they put an illegal, they didn't put a permitted basement entrance in, they changed the windows, didn't get permits, added a deck, didn't get permits. There was about 6 items that put an addition on the house without a permit, and the client decided to make everything right with the city. And I said it was a bad idea. Well, 6 months later, and about $30,000, maybe $40,000, that everything fixed. We sold the house, and the owner came back to me and said, "Miles, you're right. We should have taken less money and sold it 6 months ago." So you have to know when to do something and when not to, and give the clients the benefit of your expertise. So the other thing title insurance doesn't cover is environmental hazards. You need to know that. Zoning bylaw violations from changes, renovations, or additions to your property or land that you are responsible for creating. So that's, again, the greenhouse situation and the additions and the deck and that kind of stuff. So when you are talking to your client, I'm going to email you this document. You'll have it. Explain title insurance thoroughly, especially on your listings, because if you carefully examine the property, you should be able to determine in a couple simple phone calls to the city whether the property buildings were permitted or changes were permitted as far as basement development and that sort of thing. So carry on, rock on, stay healthy, stay safe, and go sell something.